All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk about Marathon Digital Holdings, stock ticker MARA. This is going to be a big update. They had their monthly operational report that they released last week, and last night, after hours, they released their quarterly report. So I'll try and get through all this as fast as I can and as organized as I can. As always, thank you for watching. If you enjoy this type of content, please remember to subscribe to the channel. It does help the channel out a lot. And you can also smash the like button and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Right now, they're trading just under $16. They are green on the day, and I will tell you, this is a red day in the market. It's a red day for almost every single Bitcoin miner. I do think this is a positive reaction to their quarterly earnings. So at the moment, this is about a $2.6 billion market cap company. That makes them the second largest market cap of all the Bitcoin mining companies. Okay, Marathon Digital Holding announces Bitcoin mining production and mining operation update for July 2023. This was put out August 3rd, so, a little less than a week ago. Mined a record 179 blocks in July of 2023. As far as Bitcoin blocks mined, this was their all-time record. So they also produced 1,176 Bitcoin in July. That was more than any other publicly traded Bitcoin mining company. For the very first time ever, Marathon actually mined more than Core Scientific. I want to go next to their quarterly report. This is for the period ended June 30th. There's a lot of good stuff in here. There is some other stuff that gives me some question marks. Okay, so this was just after the market closed yesterday. Marathon Digital Holdings reports second quarter 2023 results. I will also let you know I did listen to their conference call as well, so I did make a bunch of notes. There was a few noteworthy things in the conference call that they don't really talk about in their press release, so I will talk about those in a few minutes. Right now, let's go through the press release. Second quarter 2023 financial results. The company recorded a net loss of $21.3 million. Now, that is by GAAP purposes, so generally accepted accounting principles. I think this is not the important number to be looking at. I think we want to be looking at a few different things, which I've been talking about consistently on the channel. Number one, I'm trying to look at, are they cash flow positive? So you can lose money and still be cash flow positive. So that's an important thing because through the crypto winter, obviously a lot of these companies, actually almost every single one of them, if not every single one of them, was cash flow negative, meaning they were burning through cash. Well, that's no longer true. Marathon and most of these companies are now cash flow positive. We're going to see just how positive they were in this month. The other very important thing that I'm looking at is what were their earnings, their EBITDA. That's a non-generally accepted accounting way of looking at financial earnings. However, from an investment standpoint, it is a very, very typical number to look at, and that is the number that I think is more important. It basically takes out a lot of the non-cash transactions, a lot of the non-operational stuff, and we can compare this consistently across the Bitcoin miners. So the companies that have not yet reached those two benchmarks, which is positive cash flow and positive EBITDA, I think are going to struggle after the halving. $81.8 million for this quarter. That is by far their all-time record, and it's about a 60% increase quarter over quarter versus the first quarter of 2023. Okay, so if I scroll down a little bit, you see adjusted EBITDA was $25.6 million. That's the highest that number's ever been for them. Okay, then they note total margin excluding depreciation and amortization improved to $26.5 million, up from $8.2 million a year ago. This is one of the numbers that I think is extremely important, and this is where I talk about being cash flow positive. So in large part, this is the cost of energy and their hosting costs. So those are their cash costs. That was about $55 million against about $81.7 million in revenue. So there's that $25+ million of gross profit. So their overhead, their general administrative expenses were just about $20 million, which means they generated more gross profit than they had in overhead. So, okay, which leads me to the following statement. This is from Fred Thiel, the CEO of the company. With the progress we reported in July plus additional installs in early August, our domestic installed hash rate has now reached our 23 exahash goal. I would expect in the month of August, they will be hashing at 23 exahash, which at long last is the goal they've been talking about. On the conference call, when asked about growth, Fred was very, very cautious, as have all of the CEOs been when referring to growth from this point forward. So, he basically said they're looking to maintain their position as the largest Bitcoin miner, but as to committing to an exact amount of growth and a time frame of growth beyond the 23 exahash that they have, Fred did say, it looks like the experts are talking about maybe 20 or 30% of the machines that are currently currently online are going to have to come offline at the halving based on the fact that they will be so unprofitable, they're going to need to be retired. So there will be some balancing of the global hash rate. The other thing they talked quite a bit about was efficiency. All of the new machines that are coming online are the XPs. Those are their most efficient machines. They talked about when they get to this 23 exahash, which is basically this month, they will have their overall efficiency at about 24 joules per terahash, so that's very low versus the overall network, and it will be amongst the lowest out of all the Bitcoin miners. So this is something that bodes well for them. Now, their cost of energy, that goes to the efficiency of their machines. Their cost of energy is still a little bit higher than average. So we're going to look at, okay, this is a chart that I put together, and this is basically from their financial statements. So this is over the last 5 quarters. You'll see, so they're about $18,800 per coin. A lot of these other companies have been reporting anywhere from $12,000 to $16,000. So far, this is the highest number I've seen. There will be a few that report even higher numbers than this. Now, remember, Bitcoin's at around $29,000 or $30,000, so that does still leave, $9,000 or $10,000 of gross profit per coin. The main theme of the conference call was the fact that they are going to continue to work on increasing their efficiency and decreasing their cost per coin. Going into the halving, they said that is the most important thing. More important at this point, much more important for them than growth. They're already at 23 exahash. So what they want to do is find ways to increase their efficiency. They have teamed up with a company called Auradine. They've taken a small equity position in that company. So it's not so much a profit center for them as it is they are now a part of the team that's building the ASIC chip that they are going to use in their own proprietary machines. Now, that's not going to be the majority of their fleet. 2/3 of their fleet is already the SJ19 XPs, which are the highest efficiency miners out there. However, they did talk about the fact that the miners that they're going to make, the ASIC chips that they're going to make, are a little more efficient and flexible as it relates to real-time overclocking and underclocking, which is going to be an important part of increasing efficiency and decreasing this cost per coin. So far, of the companies that have reported, every single company did have an increase in cost per coin, fairly along the same lines as a percentage as Marathon did. So the difficulty level just went up quite a bit last quarter. So all of these companies have experienced an increase in their cost per coin. Having said that, I do think that Marathon needs to bring down this cost over time. So as they did express, I think this is their most important thing they're going to focus on a going forward basis. Just to let everybody know, Note 16, which is subsequent events, they did have their annual shareholders meeting. They did vote. And Proposal 3 is the one that everybody was concerned about. Proposal 3 was the common stock increase. They want to increase their authorized shares from 200 million to 500 million. So you can see this won rather easily, 56 million to 22 million. There was this other preferred shares that they created that for this singular purpose, which was to vote on Proposal 3, these convertible shares had the equivalence of 5 billion shares of stock. So essentially, whatever way they voted, it seems like that's how it was going to go, but they did not need these shares at all. Just the common shareholders rather convincingly voted in favor of this increase in authorized shares. So authorized is not outstanding. As of this most recent quarter, they had 200 million shares authorized. So they did vote to increase that to 500 million, but you're going to see they have 174 million outstanding. In the previous quarter, they had 167 million outstanding. So you can see they only issued about 7 million shares of stock over the last 3 months. As a percent, that's a very small percent. So it's not like they're issuing stock like crazy. They do sell a bunch of their Bitcoin each month to pay for operations. So I think they've been pretty judicious with their sale of stock at the market offering. So I do not expect all of a sudden them to balloon their number of outstanding shares and have massive dilution. They really did talk about the fact they're going to be extremely strategic about that. So for those of you who that's a big sticking point with, yes, there are now going to be 500 million shares authorized. I'm not worried about that personally. That's my personal opinion. So obviously not financial advice. You guys can decide what you think management is going to do with, that new flexibility that they have. I just want to finish up by looking at the chart, and you're going to see there has been a pullback in all the Bitcoin miners. So Marathon, from their high in the middle of July, until where they're trading right now, they're down about 20%. I will say most of the rest of the Bitcoin miners are down between 30 and 40%. So Marathon and Riot, which are the two largest Bitcoin miners, have also had the smallest pullback out of all the Bitcoin miners. But this is a 20% pullback. You'll see it's also to a line of support. If I zoom out a little, you'll see this purple line. This was a local high back in October of 2022. So that was resistance at that time. It has turned, I think, into support. You're going to see we did dip below this 2 days ago. We had one daily candle close below this line. The very next daily candle closed above. And then today we're in the green on a day where most of the Bitcoin miners are in the red. So it looks like we're going to hold this line of support. I do think there's room to the upside. It's all dependent right now on what Bitcoin does. So if Bitcoin can turn around and maybe break out of this range it's been in, which is somewhere in the $29,000 to $31,000 trading range. So if it can get above that and maybe make a run to 35,000, I do think there's a bunch of upside in Marathon, even in the short term and in the next 30, 60, 90 days. Also, from a buy and hold standpoint, in my opinion, this would be a long-term investment. I do not currently hold shares of this, but I do like what they're doing. I like what I see. 2022, I was very critical of this company, and really I was just reporting the information that was happening. In 2023, it's been a very different story, so I do think they continue to trend in the right direction. So that's where Marathon is at. That's what happened in the month of July. That's what happened in the quarter ended June 30th. So hopefully this brings you up to date, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And again, if you do enjoy this video, if you do enjoy this content, please remember to subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel out a lot. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.